She made me cry in front of the whole class, mocked me, and even tried to ruin my reputation as a first grader. But what she didn't know was that her downfall started the moment she underestimated me. If you've ever been humiliated by someone in power, especially when you were too young to fight back, then stick around. This story is for anyone who ever wished karma had a time card. Hit that like button, subscribe, and let's get into one of the most unexpected revenge stories you'll hear today. When you're 6 years old, the world still feels magical, until someone shatters that illusion. That someone was my elementary school speech teacher. She despised me. I could never figure out why. I wasn't loud. I didn't cause trouble. But from the very beginning, she had it out for me. Our first big incident. First grade. That morning, I arrived at school earlier than usual. My classroom teacher smiled and asked if I'd like to help with the morning announcements. Of course, I said yes. What kid wouldn't want to be on the mic? She paired me with another student from my speech class. Before we left, she gently reminded us to return through the first grade hallway so we wouldn't get lost. Simple enough. We finished the announcements just fine. But on the way back, that kid I was with, he turned into a menace, opening random lockers, knocking on doors, acting like a clown. I was stunned. So, being the good kid I was, I warned him. If you keep doing that, I'm gonna tell the teacher. That's it. I didn't actually tattle. I didn't run off to rat him out. Just said it. But I guess that scared him enough, because he beat me to it. He told our speech teacher I was threatening to tattle. What happened next? Let's just say, it changed how I viewed adults forever. Later that day, during second block, she called all her speech students out into the hallway, me included. I didn't think much of it, until she turned to me. Then, right there in front of the other students, she unleashed hell. Look at the little tattletale, she sneered. You think you're better than everyone? You want a referral sheet for trying to snitch? I stood there frozen, cheeks burning, eyes welling up. And then, I broke. I cried. Hard. Not just sniffles, full-on sobbing. She humiliated me in front of my classmates and then told me I wasn't allowed to come to class that day. Just sent me back to the room like I was nothing. I walked into my classroom red-eyed, my face stained with tears. I felt ashamed and confused, like I had done something terribly wrong, but couldn't figure out what. My actual teacher pulled me aside, clearly alarmed. What happened? She asked gently. I told her everything. She frowned. She can't write you up for that, she said softly. Next time she says something like that, you come straight to me. I didn't realize it then, but that moment lit a quiet fire beneath her. Fast forward a few years, to fourth grade. Same speech teacher. Same cold glare. This time, she was monitoring the lunchroom. Now, keep in mind, I was just a kid enjoying lunch with my friends. Yeah, maybe I was laughing too much or talking a little loud, but nothing over the top. But she zoomed in on me like a hawk. What is all this junk food? She snapped. You think that's healthy? You shouldn't be eating that. I ignored her. Didn't even make eye contact. And maybe that's what triggered her more, because next thing I knew, she yelled at me for disrupting the cafeteria and wrote me up. Said I was being loud and disrespectful. This time, I didn't go to detention. I went straight to my old first-grade teacher. She sat me down, shared her lunch with me, and called the detention monitor herself to have the referral dropped. She looked me in the eye and said something I didn't understand at the time. Don't worry about her anymore. She won't be teaching much longer. Now, looking back, that was the beginning of the end. Over the next few months, the speech teacher started to become invisible. Teachers stopped talking to her in the hallways. She wasn't given lunchroom monitoring duty anymore. No more substitute days. No extra tasks. It was like she didn't exist. She started eating alone in her classroom. Every day. Eventually, she was just gone. Turns out, my first-grade teacher hadn't just believed me, she had acted. She told the other staff members what happened. She went to the principal. And the principal? He already had a file on her. A whole stack of complaints from other students and teachers. My story. That was the nail in the coffin. She was fired that year. No big announcement. No dramatic scene. Just gone. It felt weird. Like justice had arrived without me even asking for it. Looking back, I realize how rare it is for adults to believe kids, especially when the accused is another adult. But my first-grade teacher, she believed me. She protected me. And because of her, that woman never had the chance to break another kid like she tried to break me. If that story gave you chills or reminded you of someone who once stood up for you, smash that like button. Comment below, what's the most satisfying justice you've ever seen in real life? And don't forget to subscribe for more stories just like this one, where karma finally catches up. My elementary school speech teacher despised me, so I got her fired, sorta. Had this speech teacher in elementary school who hated my guts for absolutely no reason. Our first altercation was in first grade. I had arrived extra early that day, so the teacher asked if I'd like to do the school announcements with the next student that comes in. I agreed and went with this kid I went to speech with. The teacher had asked me to make sure we go through the first grade hallway only so we don't get lost. We went to the office and finished the announcements with no problems. As we started heading back, this kid started going through different hallways, knocking on doors and opening random lockers. Being the good first grader that I was, I threatened to tell the teacher on him. Even though I never did nor was. This apparently made him so scared he told the speech teacher on me. During second block, the speech teacher called her students out to the hall, which included me and a couple other kids. She then proceeded to make fun of me, call me a tattletale, and threatened to give me a referral sheet, all while all the other kids watched as I was bawling my eyes out. She then made me go back to the classroom and didn't allow me to have class that day, which I think isn't allowed anyways. I came back into the classroom with bloodshot eyes and tear stains on my face. The teacher called me back to the room and asked what happened. I explained to her and she told me she can't write me for that and to tell her the next time she ever did something like that. The second altercation was maybe fourth grade. She was monitoring the lunchroom and was particularly examining the table I was at. She started telling me I shouldn't be eating all this junk food and more nonsense, which already made me irritated, but I ignored her. When she saw I wasn't affected or cared, she yelled at me for the way I was taking to my friend. Apparently I was talking too loud and making too many jokes. She then proceeded to write me up and I had to go to detention. Instead of going, I went back to my first grade teacher and told her what happened. The end.